Hello, I wanted to show you how I make very smooth encaustic wax boards. So I had attended a workshop with Dietlind Vander Schaaf. She's one of the RNF Paints core instructors. If you go to rnfpaints.com or something like that, you'll see the core instructors in the menu, and you can also see some of their blogs and videos and stuff, and I recommend you look at those if you like encaustic art or making anything with oil and encaustic wax, so cold wax and hot wax. So anyway, so these are a few that I made. This one is an unprimed board, and there are I believe 7 layers of encaustic wax on this. This was a raw board, so you can see the wood grain underneath. You can see the little and this board was rough actually, so it's very smooth now. I don't know if you can tell. You can see a little shine on it. This was a piece of barnwood that I had taped off, and actually I think I burned the sides of the shogi suban technique. And then I left the top plain or raw, and I put some encaustic layers on it. This board right here was actually an art panel it's like a cradled board. The board goes to here. It's probably about 1.5 inches. Yeah, probably about 1.5 inches wide. And I left it without any gesso in there. I just primed it, so you can still kind of see some of the wood grain in there. And there are 10 layers on this. You can see how thick the wax is here. There's a lot of wax on there. So that one's ungessoed, but it's very smooth, and it's got 10 layers of encaustic medium on there. Here's another piece of barnwood. You can see how it broke off the end. And this board, it's not level. It's concave here. So this was a little bit of a challenge. I'll do some kind of collage with that. And then this one was primed. This was a pine slab, a pine cut. I taped it off, and underneath here you'll see the bark when I take this tape off. But I painted this white, so if you can look between these, you can tell that's been encaustic gesso. And this is raw, but that one is got white gesso on it. So that's what they look like when you gesso them. So I'm gonna do 2 boards here. I have 2 boards actually. These 2 boards were a piece of MDF cuts I had that were left over. This one's like 2.5 by 5, and this one's 2.5 by probably 4.5 inches or something like that, maybe a little less. And they're MDF. They're thick 1/2 inch MDF, and I taped them all off, and then I'm gonna put some smooth gesso on there. And then this one does, not gesso, encaustic medium on here. Sometimes when I video, I don't talk right. This one was a board panel that I had done something to it and I didn't like it, so I just heated it up and I scraped it off. I used one of these scrapers. I heated it up, and then I got all these clumps. There was a lot more. This is just a few pieces of it. And then I put some gesso on there. This is encaustic gesso, so it's got some tooth to it. I really beat the heck out of it, but it's just encaustic, so you can add to it, you can subtract, it doesn't matter. All right, so now before I do it, and this is my encaustic medium. This is RNF encaustic medium. Okay, let me get back to what I'm doing here. I'm going to just warm up my panel. If you don't warm up your panel and then put your medium on there, it's gonna drag. Let me just turn that down. I just want to heat this up. There's little pieces of dirt on there. When I brush my encaustic medium, I want it to have really not much resistance over this encaustic gesso. You see it's starting to warm up. No, I just want to be careful not to melt the tape. Okay, I can feel, and I can start to smell it. All right. Okay, so I'm going to start this way. So there's my Encaustic medium. And I do not want to overlap these. See, I already got some drag on there. I can see that. This first layer is going to get a little overlapped. All right, so there is some skip in here where the brush dragged. I don't know if you can see where it's dull or matte there, and you can see there's wax here. But when I fuse this right now, these are going to melt over that blank spot. There it goes. See that? Alright. Oops, I'm overheating it. I gotta stop. Okay, so that was one. So over here with my pencil, I'm going to make a little hatch mark on my table. That was my first coat. And I'm going to rotate it. So I did do it this way. I'm going to rotate it once. If I wasn't on this Lazy Susan, I would just pick it up and move it like that. Okay, so this is a second coat. Get my medium brush over here. Your first couple layers are not as smooth, but that's the way it goes. Okay, I've got some lines in here. I'm not going to worry about it though. Okay, this is my second coat. Now I'm going to try and think about how my encaustic medium is going on without too many lines here. Because if you build up over lines, over time it's really going to be noticeable. Okay, so I'm going to make, this is layer 2. I'm going to take my pencil and mark 2. Okay, I'm going to turn it this way. This is the third coat. Now my board is warm because I just fused. That helps it to glide over better. Alright. Alright, this is the third one. I'm going to say this board has a little bit of a disadvantage because it's been worked over quite a bit. And then I put gesso on it. Okay, so this is 3. So I'm going to take my pencil and mark 3. I'm trying to get to 10. Okay, I'm going to get my brush. This is a 3-inch wide hockey brush I bought on Amazon. Okay. This is 4. I'm going to fuse. Just be real quick with it. Okay. And take my pencil and mark 4 hatch marks. Rotate. Alright. Okay, so you get the pattern. And honestly, this is really intoxicating. I'm gonna say I could do this for hours in a night and just be happy about it. I picked up a little debris or something. Let's do that. When you hear it hissing like that, you know it's too high. You gotta turn it down. Alright. So this is 5. So I'm gonna take my pencil and mark 5. Okay, so I gotta do 5 more on this. I'm gonna set this aside for just a minute, and I'm gonna make sure it's flat. I see that my gesso didn't quite adhere here and here in this board, and I think it's because there might have been traces of wax on this panel after I scraped it and put my gesso on there. So I'm gonna let this cool for a little bit and just make sure it's flat. Maybe those bubbles will settle down. Okay. All right, let's go to these small panels. I cut these. This one did not have a perfect 90-degree angle, but that's okay. I don't care. There's a little sticker or something on here. Let's see if I can get it off. If I can't, that's okay too. Today is Monday, September 12th, 2022. And I worked during the day, so I came home, made dinner, and then I came down here and turned the wax on. Turned my grill on. Alright. Okay, so these look pretty good. There's a little bit there we go. Alright. I'm gonna heat these up. I'm gonna do both of them at the same time. Why not? Just gonna warm up these boards. So these are MDF, and I don't know, when you work with MDF, you gotta remember that this is just composite, basically wood dust mixed with glue, and you can't always, I don't know, count on what is all in here. I do know that when I work with ungessoed MDF, it sucks up the wax right away. So I might need to do like 12 layers. Okay, I'm gonna take my pencil, start a new line. This is layer 1. Actually, let me fuse it. I can tell these are gonna be smooth. Okay, turn. Next one. Get my wax. I like to do diptychs with different sized panels. I think it's fun to have that variation. It's a different kind of symmetry. It's not exactly the same size, but I can do a similar pattern on both. And then I sell them together as a diptych. All right, there's 2. I'm marking it with my pencil. Turn it. Ooh, now, look at this. Do you see this dark? There is glue under here that I heated up that's created a different texture on the board. I just need to be mindful that that area has the glue has bubbled up under the heat, and it might be a jerk. So let me just let it. When you have different viscosity or texture on a substrate, it's going to have a less consistent absorption and cooling throughout the whole layer of the board, of the substrate. So it may be a little abstract there, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Ooh, that dragged a little. All right. This is 3. Okay, I'm gonna take my pencil and mark 3 on my page. Turn it. All right. Get my wax. And I'm always going in a different direction, so I'm just going clockwise with every quarter turn. That way you don't have one edge that as you're coming off, that you get that lip on the one side. So I like to always be turning it. What happens is that one side of your panel will get lopsided. Okay, that's smooth. All right, so this is layer 4. I'm gonna get my pencil and mark my 4. Turn. You get the idea. I don't know if you want to watch me do all 10 layers, so I'm just gonna stop here after this one. Make sure that when you're pulling it off, you don't push it down, that you go with the same consistency straight across as far as the pressure with your brush. That's where you'll get these, this is paint from here. I pulled up. I'm attached to my brush and stuck it in there. Get that off. I always have these tweezers right here. If I pick this off and it leaves a dent, yeah, it's gonna leave a dent. I'm gonna refuse it. It's good as new. There we go. That's gonna have a hot spot right there. I'm gonna let that cool. Okay, so that was 5. All right, so they end up looking like this. They're really smooth. It's very satisfying to have these smooth, and when you just touch it with your hand, it's like touching ice that isn't cold. It's just real nice. So these make great substrates for doing like inlays and, you know, a collage of colors. There's lots of different things you can do with it. Here's one that I did. I did some lines. I did some mixing of colors of like this. Like I had basically just a couple of colors, and then I did some inscribing in there, and then I laid in some paint stick. This is a Mars yellow deep, and so I've got some repetition in the patterns there. So yeah, and then I painted the sides yellow gold. Actually, what was it? Ancient gold, I think the color was. No, Olympic gold was the color. And then I'm going to put some hanging hardware back here and sign the back. So this was a piece of off-cut wood that was from my garage. And I thought, oh, I'm going to make some art out of it. So using the same smooth technique, I made this piece, and then I did some layering. So it's kind of a collage-y kind of thing. So I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to leave any questions. This went to 16 minutes. I'm so sorry. Thank you for watching.